It's 3:14 a.m. in a warehouse outside Guadalajara. You're sitting on a metal folding chair that smells like motor oil and old blood. The fluorescent tube above flickers once, twice, then steadies. Across from you, three men stand in a loose semicircle. The one in the middle, stocky, gold chain thick enough to tow a car, leans forward, elbows on the table, eyes locked on yours. He doesn't blink. Nobody blinks. On the table between you, two stacks of cash, still banded, a black Glock with the slide locked back, and your CIA credential wallet open to the photo that looks nothing like the man staring back at them right now. The stocky one speaks first, voice low, almost bored. "We know who you are, Alejandro." He says your legend name like it's a joke only he gets. The two men behind him shift weight, left one in a yellow tank top, right one in dark gray, both with rifles slung low, but fingers near triggers. "You've been very good at pretending, very good at counting our money, very good at smiling when Ringo reads his shitty novel, but every ghost leaves footprints." He taps the Glock once with a thick finger. "Question is, do we put a bullet in the accountant, or do we put a bullet in the man who sent him?" Your pulse stays steady, training, but your mouth tastes like copper. The stocky one smiles, small, patient, final. "Let's find out. You are the undercover CIA operative in the cartel. This life chose you. You were never supposed to be here. 24 years old. A face so average it could disappear in a crowd of 3. Grew up 10 minutes from the border, in a house that smelled like diesel and tortillas. Spanish first, English second. Code switching so smooth you barely notice it anymore. Community college accounting degree, 2 years of night classes, a diploma nobody framed. You lived in a studio apartment with a mattress on the floor and a fridge that only held beer and regret. Directionless, broke, forgettable. That's what made you perfect. The email came on a Tuesday, no sender name, just a subject line, opportunity. One line inside, "You have skills we need." Reply with yes or no. Do not forward, do not screenshot. You stared at it for 20 minutes, then you typed yes. 48 hours later, a black Suburban picked you up outside your apartment at 4:17 a.m. No questions, no conversation. They drove you to a private airstrip. A Gulfstream waited, engines already running. Inside, a man in a gray suit handed you a folder. 1 page. Your new name, Alejandro Medina. Age 24. Born in Tijuana. Accountant. Gambling debt. Owes $220,000 to people who don't send reminders, they send body parts. The agency didn't recruit you because you were brave. They recruited you because you were invisible. 18 months, a facility in Virginia that doesn't appear on any map. They stripped you down to nothing and rebuilt you from scratch. How to lie without blinking. How to build a cover identity that holds up under scrutiny. Fake credit reports, fake utility bills, fake social media posts with timestamps that match real weather patterns. They gave you a Tinder profile, 3 matches, all agents. They ran you through mock interrogations that lasted 72 hours straight. Sleep deprivation, stress positions, white noise. The only way out was to convince them you were Alejandro, not you, never you. They taught you 14 ways to kill a man quietly and 200 ways to avoid having to do. But the first lesson, the one they repeated like scripture, was simple. Never get attached. The people you meet are not friends, they're assets, line items on a budget sheet. The second you forget that, you're a classified obituary with no name. Your legend was airtight. Alejandro Medina had a college transcript from UNAM, a landlord in Guadalajara who would swear you paid rent late but always paid, even a parking ticket from 2023. The agency spent 8 months making him real, more real than most people ever are. Starting today, he's you. You are the undercover CIA operative in the cartel.
The first 3 months are almost boring. You show up at Grupo Pacifico's office in a rented suit that still smells like the dry cleaner. Your desk is in the corner, old monitor, flickering fluorescent light, a plant that died 6 months ago. You count invoices, you file payroll, you reconcile accounts that never quite balance. On paper, it's the most tedious job in Mexico. In reality, you're inside the machine. The numbers start whispering. A warehouse in Sinaloa reports $4.2 million in industrial cleaning supplies sales last quarter, enough to stock every hospital in the state. Shipping manifests list drums of solvent that weigh exactly the same as cocaine bricks. Every Thursday, $47,000 wires to a Panama shell company with no website, no phone, no employees. You don't blink. You just fix the formatting so the books look clean. Your supervisor is Ringo, stocky, 40-something, gold chain that looks heavy enough to sink a boat. He calls you Ale from day one. He doesn't ask questions. He watches. After 2 weeks of you quietly correcting errors the previous accountant was too lazy or too scared to touch, he gives you one nod. In this world, one nod from Ringo is worth more than a promotion letter. Then the tests begin. First, it's small. Ringo hands you a flash drive. Take this to the warehouse in Zapopan. Don't open it. Don't ask what's in it. You drive. You deliver. No one follows. No one stops you. You pass. Next test is bigger. Ringo brings you into the back room after hours. A man is zip-tied to a metal chair, face already swollen. Skimmed $18,000 from a shipment. Ringo doesn't speak. He just watches you. Your training kicks in 3 seconds before your stomach does. You stand there with the same blank expression you'd use watching someone fix a jammed printer. Ringo nods again. 2 nods now. You're being promoted without anyone saying the word. You feed intel back through methods that feel like Cold War relics. 5-star Yelp reviews for restaurants you've never eaten at mean priority intel. 1 star means abort. 3 stars means check the dead drop behind the laundromat. Your handler meets you at a dog park every other Thursday. You both pretend to walk dogs. The agency provides the dog, a golden retriever named Peanut, with better fake documents than most people. Exchanges last 90 seconds. If anyone's watching, you're 2 boring men with a boring dog having a boring conversation. Perfect. 8 months in, you know names that don't appear in newspapers, routes through 3 countries, dollar amounts that would make a banker flinch. Your intel has led to 2 major seizures and the quiet arrest of a mid-level lieutenant. You're a microphone buried inside the machine. But something happens nobody warned you about. These people start becoming real. Ringo carries a leather notebook everywhere, not for cartel business, for a novel he's writing.
a love story set in a fishing village. He reads you a passage at 2 a.m. while you're counting cash in a warehouse. It's heartbreaking. He joined the organization to pay for his mother's Alzheimer's care, 40,000 pesos a month. Visits her every Sunday. She doesn't recognize him anymore, but he still brings gardenias because she used to grow them when he was a kid. La Señora runs the real estate front, former elementary school teacher. Her son disappeared 12 years ago. She joined because they had contacts the police didn't. Never found him, but found something that numbs the absence. She mothers everyone in the office, remembers your fake birthday, brings you soup when you're sick. Donna Bell, the old driver, 30 years with the organization, doesn't carry a gun, just drives. Tells you about his dead wife, Estella, on long rides through the mountains. Talks about her like she's waiting at home. You know these people now, not as targets, as humans. That is the most dangerous thing that has ever happened to you.
The circle starts shrinking. 12 months in, the cartel's chief financial architect calls himself El Arquitecto, decides every inner circle member needs a polygraph. Too many leaks, too many seizures. Someone is talking. He doesn't accuse anyone outright. He just schedules the tests, one by one. You pass, barely. Breathing techniques, controlled heart rate, eyes on the wall instead of the examiner. Your training holds. Others aren't so lucky. 2 men fail. They disappear that night. No bodies, no headlines, just empty desks the next morning. The agency pushes harder. New handler, soft hands, pressed shirt, never been in the field, texts through the encrypted app, accelerate, 6 months instead of 2 years. DEA is circling. Langley wants credit. You push back, say these people have families, mothers with Alzheimer's, sons who vanished. He cuts you off. Your job is to open the door. What walks through isn't your concern. You sit in your car for 40 minutes after the message. The agency and the cartel suddenly look like mirror images. Both run on hierarchy. Both treat people like inventory. Both will burn you the second you stop being useful. The only difference is the logo on the letterhead. Then comes the order that kills whatever is left of your soul. Pajaro, the quiet 23-year-old kid who handles encrypted comms, ends up on El Arquitecto's short list of suspects. He's not the mole. You are. The agency sends one line through the dead drop. Let it happen. If Pajaro takes the fall, the hunt ends. Operation survives. Do not intervene. You could warn him, slip him a note, tell him to run. But if you do, the hunt continues, and the next name on the list is yours. You do nothing. Pajaro disappears on a Wednesday. Nobody mentions him on Thursday. By Friday, his desk is cleared. A new kid sits there, headphones on, already typing. You pass him in the hallway, and he smiles like nothing happened. You smile back. Your face feels like plastic. That night, you sit on the edge of your bed, staring at the wall. You've spent a year pretending to be Alejandro Medina. Now you're starting to wonder if Alejandro is pretending to be you. The final act begins with a PowerPoint. You organize an investor strategy session. The cartel is expanding into legal cannabis. El Arquitecto wants every major decision-maker in one room on one day. You build the slide deck yourself. 42 slides designed to put every target in a single building at a single time. The conference room seats 30. By 10 a.m., every seat is filled.
Ringo is in the back row scribbling in his notebook. La Señora brought pastries. Don Abel is parked outside, napping with the radio on. At 3:47 p.m., you hear the helicopters. At 3:47 p.m., the helicopters arrive. The sound is low at first, distant thunder, then sudden and deafening. Blackhawks drop from the sky like wasps. Glass shatters. Flash grenades pop white-hot in the conference room. Men in tactical gear pour through doors and windows, shouting commands in English and Spanish. Tables flip, chairs scatter, pastries hit the floor. Ringo is closest to you. He stands slowly, hands half raised, notebook still clutched in one fist. Attack agent tackles him anyway, knee in the back, face slammed to carpet. The notebook skids across the floor. Pages open, handwritten words about fishing villages and lost love, face down in dust. La Señora screams, "I'm not armed! I'm not armed!" She drops to her knees, hands high. An agent zip-ties her wrists. She looks at you, eyes wide, confused, betrayed. She brought pastries for everyone. She remembered your fake birthday. Don Abel is outside in the parking lot. He wakes to shouts, raises his hands slow, like he's soothing a spooked horse. A stray round catches him in the shoulder. He falls against the car door, radio still playing ranchera music. He's 67. He drives. He tells stories about his dead wife. He's not on any target list. He's collateral. The room empties fast. Cuffs click. Radios crackle. El Arquitecto is dragged out last, face calm like he expected this. He glances at you once. Not anger, not fear. Recognition. He knows. You're pulled into a hallway. Attack agent pats you down, finds the hidden mic. "Friendly," he says into his comms. "Extracting asset." They hustle you to a Blackhawk. Rotors thump. You lift off. Below, the building shrinks. Smoke rises. Friends, assets, line up on the ground, hands behind heads. You look down at your hands, still steady, still Alejandro's hands, still yours. The mission is over. You're a hero who sacrificed a kid to save the operation. A hero who watched an old man bleed for nothing. A hero who can't close his eyes without seeing a notebook skid across carpet.
3 weeks in a windowless room in Langley. Debriefs that feel like interrogations. They give you a medal in a velvet box, classified, never to be worn. A bonus wired to an account without your real name. A new identity. A quiet apartment in a city you've never visited. A life that looks like freedom. But freedom has teeth. You can't sleep without pills. Every knock on the door makes your pulse spike. You see Ringo's notebook in the dust, La Señora's confused eyes as they zip-tie her wrists, Don Abel falling against the car, ranchera music still playing, Pajaro's empty desk. You did nothing. That nothing weighs more than the medal. 8 months later, your new handler calls. New voice, same tone. Synthetic opioid network in Southeast Asia. They need someone forgettable, someone who speaks the language of money. The mission timeline is short. Langley wants credit before the DEA moves. They're not asking, they're informing. You pack your bag, because that's what bullets do. They don't choose the target, they just fly. Somewhere, right now, a young accountant with a forgettable face is reading an email with the subject line, opportunity. He'll type yes. He'll become someone else. He'll think he's saving the world. He'll learn the same lesson you did. Never get attached. This is fiction,
But undercover operations are real, and the people caught in them pay prices no one sees. If this made you think, comment what you would do if you were the one undercover. Subscribe for more dark POV stories.